Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like trying to improve your mental health is somehow just making you way more stressed out, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're diving into the incredibly confusing world of modern mental wellness. We're going to look at why the very tools built to help us so often end up hurting us, and, more importantly, how we can actually fix it using genuine, research-backed strategies.
Okay, get a load of this quote from a 2022 study that analyzed thousands of user reviews of mental health apps. It says, "For an app supposed to make its users feel better, it sure is a joke." Honestly, that hits the nail on the head, right? It perfectly captures the intense frustration of digital wellness today. We turn to our phones looking for a little peace, and instead, we get these robotic, automated responses that completely miss the mark when we are genuinely struggling.
So to navigate this maze, we're going to hit 4 main points. First, the digital wellness trap. Second, habits you need to break. Third, therapist-approved daily practices. And finally, reclaiming your mental space.
Section 1, the digital wellness trap.
We live in an era where help is supposedly just a click away, but man, there is a stark contrast between what we're sold and what we actually get. The promise of accessible care, that frequently translates into unregulated chatbots that offer terrible, basically useless support during a real crisis. And the promise of inspiration, well, that's kind of morphed into this barrage of therapy speak. You know exactly what I'm talking about, where clinical language is hijacked by influencers just to promote overconsumption and sell products. And it gets worse when you look at video sharing platforms. Sites like TikTok and YouTube are, in many ways, actively promoting anxiety. Young people jump on these apps trying to figure out their mental health, but instead they run into unregulated creators tossing out medical advice alongside just massive volumes of unverified misinformation. So instead of finding healing, you leave the app with a spiked heart rate, feeling anxious from constantly comparing your life to someone else's perfectly curated highlight reel.
Section 2, habits you need to break.
Escaping that digital trap is really just step 1. Now we gotta look inward at the quiet, sneaky little psychological habits sabotaging our peace. Licensed therapists are literally begging us to break these 6 habits. Number 5 is so relatable. Spilling a drop of coffee on your shirt and deciding, well, the entire day is officially ruined. That's confirmation bias. Once you decide the day is trash, your brain actively hunts for evidence to prove it. Or how about number 6, taking full responsibility for other people's feelings? Look, empathy is wonderful, but letting someone else's potential disappointment completely dictate your life, that's just a one-way ticket to resentment city. We really need to reframe these behaviors. Have you ever told yourself something like, I can't eat lunch until I finish this report? That is literally using punishment as motivation. Therapists want to remind you that you're an adult with free will. You do not need to put yourself in timeout. Actually, scratch that. Let's look at a healthy alternative. Try softening the blow of a brutal task by pairing it with a little joy. Make a fancy mug of hot cocoa while you finally tackle that terrifying email inbox. Now, if you're someone who gets totally stuck in your own head with heavy self-criticism, there's a technique called diffusion, and it is an absolute game changer. Diffusion is all about unfusing yourself from a thought. So instead of sitting there declaring, my life is terrible, you just tweak it to, I'm having the thought that my life is terrible. Just adding that tiny bit of psychological distance reminds you that your thoughts are just passing mental weather. They are not absolute, set-in-stone reality. Section 3. Therapist-approved daily practices. Okay, before we jump into the at-home habits, let's talk numbers real quick. The data is super clear here. About 75% of people who go to actual therapy experience mental health benefits. Working with a licensed professional is just vastly superior to scrolling through unregulated advice videos online. A good therapist is basically like a coach. They help you set actionable goals and safely recognize those toxic thought patterns we just talked about. But for those moments when you're at home and you just need immediate grounding, experts highly recommend a sleep-based meditation called Yoga Nidra. It is so simple. You just lie on your back, focus on your breath, and visualize this slow-moving wave traveling from the soles of your feet up to the crown of your head when you inhale and sweeping back down when you exhale. Seriously, just 10 to 30 minutes of this can completely reset your nervous system back to calm. And the best part, mental wellness doesn't always have to mean intense, exhausting psychological work. Sometimes it's wonderfully physical. For instance, studies show that drinking green tea literally lowers your stress hormone, cortisol. Or singing in the shower. Belting out a tune actually changes your brain for the better by lowering stress indicators through musical vibrations. Even just the physical act of smiling tricks your body into releasing endorphins. You pair those little things with some moderate exercise and some good, nutrient-rich foods, and you are building an incredible, thriving biological foundation. Now, to prevent what we call list fatigue, where you just feel overwhelmed by all the things you're supposed to do, try weaving these into a super simple daily timeline. Morning, grab that coffee and get just 15 minutes of sunlight. It stabilizes your mood and boosts vitamin D. Boom, done. Afternoon, take a quick walk and shoot a text to a friend because social connection is absolutely vital for fighting isolation. And at night, run a warm Epsom salt bath to restore your magnesium. And this is the most important part. Disconnect from all technology. Just step completely off the digital grid.
Section 4. Reclaiming your mental space.
This is where we take back control of our mental diet. And to achieve true mental freedom, we have to make a massive paradigm shift around one very specific, very dangerous word: should. The word should is almost always about placating other people or caving to societal pressure, right? I should be exercising, or I should be a manager by now. Letting go of these heavy moral obligations disguised as shoulds and genuinely asking yourself what you actually want is a monumental step forward.
At the end of the day, the modern mental health maze traps us in this endless cycle of doom scrolling, where we're constantly searching social media to self-diagnose every single uncomfortable feeling we have. But the proven path out of the maze, it's remarkably analog. It's stepping back into the real physical world. It's volunteering at a local animal rescue, or learning a messy, hands-on DIY skill, or just expressing yourself creatively. Those real-world actions build genuine confidence and a rock-solid sense of purpose that absolutely no app could ever replicate.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your routines, your daily screen time, the way you speak to yourself in your own head. Are your current mental health habits actually healing you, or are they just keeping you busy in the digital maze? You've got the tools now. Start small, be kind to yourself, and go take your mental space back.